Mainly we are working on three important topics in the desert. One of the most important topics is water scarcity. We don't have enough water and we need to find different ways in order to supply water to the people here. Second is food, agriculture. We are trying to make desert agriculture in the harsh conditions in the desert. The third is solar energy, that we have a lot of sun here and we want to capture the sun and to make energy out of the sun. And the one that connects all together is the ecology of the system, and we want to try to do things in a sustainable way that we can continue to do it and our kids and grandkids can continue and develop the deserts. As a kid, I would like to always dig in the soil, and inside the soil you see everything. You see biology, you see chemistry, you see physics, and everything together come into this very special zone. The roots of plants, you see some microorganisms, you see some water droplets, and everything is so dynamic and changing. And when I grew up and went to the Israeli army, I went into a unit that part of the service was inside the kibbutz. And in the kibbutz we went to agricultural activities, and I was in charge of big field irrigation, and since then I said to myself, I will not be a farmer, but I will make a lot of research about irrigation and soil and agriculture. Basically, soil is life. Yes, everything that we eat is coming from the soil. Yes, so all the nutrients are coming from the soil. And so if we have healthy soil, we will have healthy life. If not, if we will contaminate our soil with salinity or with other radioactive materials or with waste or with other pollutants, heavy metals, we will have bad soil, and this will come to our food system, and then we will suffer. It can be dust that can go to the air, and then we will breathe this dust. So soil is really important for our life. And we need to keep the soil, we need to protect our soil. Look, that's what we have. We were born here in the desert and we need to survive here. And if we can survive here, I think that the knowledge that we gain here can go to other locations that are not desert yet, but they are into the desertification processes. And there are many locations in the world now that under this process, bad process of desertification. So many insights that we learn here in our natural conditions. What we have here, not enough rain, high evaporative demand, non-fertile soil, etc. But we try to develop the desert, and we have a lot of know-how. We can export this know-how and make good for other locations. For agriculture, we need to bring most of it in, all the nutrients, because the plant need the nutrients. So, but plants, they don't need sodium and chloride. You push them out, you don't need them. So we decided to do it a little bit different with electrodialysis. Those are membrane technology, but together with electricity, we are taking out selectively sodium and chloride and keeping the other elements inside. Research in our institute is focusing on three parts. One is to make more with less, more fruit, more vegetables with less resources, less water, less nutrients, less land. And the second part is to look at the vegetation around us. There's a lot of vegetation that in the desert, and to learn from this vegetation how to survive those harsh conditions. Because if we can learn from the vegetation, we can bring genes and also mechanisms that we understand and bring them in our edible plants. Also, we can take plants from the desert, and some of them have very interesting compounds or interesting it's not yet fruits or vegetables, but different organs that we might use in food industry. And yes, that's what we are doing in our institute. We are developing way to use those plants for consumption. We have 3 different weather conditions. Here we're going to grow lettuce inside. Now the salinity that is coming from the containers will come to those irrigation pots and different treatments, yes, from the different green containers, different treatments here. So we want to know exactly how much we irrigate, but also what is coming out from the lower part. This is the not used water, and then we can do the balance, how much in, how much out, and then how much the plant took. Research about algae in our institute is done with several researchers. Basically, they are working on microalgae. Microalgae is a small factory that they can produce inside. Actually, it's a plant. It's a plant that's doing photosynthesis but lives inside water. And then, of course, it can produce inside the cell different elements, different compounds. Some of them are omega-3, omega-6, or even a very complicated material like astaxanthin. This astaxanthin is a red material that the algae can produce under stress conditions, and they collect this astaxanthin, and it's an antioxidant, and it's also a material that they put in the food of the salmon fish. And this salmon fish is being pink instead of white. So we are coloring the fish from the inside. So algae research is done today to create different compounds. It can go to industry of food as a coloring for food industry. It can go for even biodiesel, but then it's really expensive to produce the oil in the algae, and it's not profitable. %50 of the world is arid land or semi-arid land, and it means that in those areas, we don't have enough precipitation. Not enough precipitation for the plants, and therefore, in most of those places, we need to irrigate the plants in order to create agriculture, to create food. And those are environments that are really fragile, and practically what is going with the desertification process, that in those regions, 2 processes are happening in the same time. We have less precipitation. Also, the intensity, when it's raining, the intensity is really high, and it can create floods and other bad processes for the soil, like soil erosion. And in the same time of low precipitation, we have higher evaporative demand because temperature is rising, and the environmental conditions are such that we have more evaporation from the soil and from the canopy, the transpiration process, and then less precipitation and more evaporation. It means that the aridity index is increasing and more arid areas, and of course less vegetation, less natural vegetation, and it's harder and harder to produce food and fibers in those areas. I would like to mention collaborations that we have within scientists here in Sde campus between biologists and chemists and mathematicians, and this is really nice because it's a place when we can interact together. So it's beautiful to do it here in a peaceful environment. But also we collaborate with other institutes in the Negev and other institutes in the world. For instance, we have several collaborations with Germany. Currently I have a project on date palms. You don't have date palms in Germany, but we have date palms here, and they have the technology to have research about the water flow inside the stem. So we use a very interesting technology that's called electrical resistivity tomography in order to look at the water flow inside the stem. And I have a German colleague that together we understand how to look at the water flow and understand when and how much to irrigate the date palm trees here in Israel. So collaboration and multidisciplinary collaboration can help us to create a better science, a cutting-edge science.